I want to talk to you about LLC business loans, no revenue, large amounts. And so basically into this conversation, I want to share with you those very generous lenders that you can actually reach out to if you're looking for an LLC business loan, no revenue. So here's a review I want you to pay attention to. So the first lender that we love a lot is Fundbox. And Fundbox is pretty friendly to LLCs. And this is a LLC business loan, no revenue lender. We love that a lot. And you can actually be approved all the way to $150,000. So we are looking at $1,000 all the way to $150,000 with no revenue, no collateral, nothing at all. The only thing is that you need to have a minimum FICO score of 500, and Fundbox will take care of you. What we love about Fundbox is that they are really fast in terms of approving you. So just make sure that your LLC is actually legit, because they will ask you for things like articles of organization. So you have to prove that your LLC is in good standing with the state authorities. This is really important. And Fundbox will also ask you to provide some financial projections. So if you have no revenue, not a problem, but they want to have like some kind of financial projections for the last, let's say, 6 months or 1 year or 18 months, and this is really fine. And one thing we love about this Fundbox as an LLC business loan, no revenue lender is that they will look at your sector. They'll look at your LLC, not just they will look at your LLC operationally speaking, financially speaking, but also the sector in which the LLC is operating. So they will see whether or not, like for instance, if the sector is pretty good, is on an upward trajectory, but you basically are having no revenue or you're having losses, they'll still give you the cash because they're thinking that overall the trends are positive, right? So this is what we call contextual analysis, and Fundbox does this a lot. So this is really good. So you can be approved for anywhere from $1,000 all the way to $150,000 for an LLC business loan, no revenue. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. We're having this quick convo about LLC business loans, no revenue, and Fundbox is our first lender. Another lender that I want to share with you that does LLC business loans, no revenue, is National Business Capital. And what we love about National Business Capital is that they actually can approve you anywhere from $10,000 all the way to $10 million. And National Business Capital actually operates in a hybrid manner. So it can be a direct lender, or it could also be a loan marketplace. So in some cases, they have some transactions where they will actually will lend directly to clients. And in other transactions, they will tap into their network of 75 to 85 lenders. And they will actually give you an LLC business loan, no revenue. So again, here you're speaking about $10,000 all the way to $10 million with no revenue requirements. But again, here you also have to prove that your LLC is legit. So they'll ask you, in addition to being legally incorporated and also having your articles of organization, you still need to prove to a National Business Capital lender that you are in good standing with the state, but that you also have a registered agent. They are important. In some cases, they will ask you for financial projections, but what we have seen in our research is that National Business Capital look more at your business plan. So they will ask you to provide a business plan to qualify for their loan, okay? But again, the cool thing is you can use the cash for a lot of things, and there are no restrictions on your LLC business loans, no revenue that you get from National Business Capital. What we love about this lender is that in some cases they will approve you within 48 hours, but in most cases 72 hours. 72 hours is actually the most reasonable time frame. But yeah, no revenue possible. But if you have revenue, that's fine also. If you have revenue, then it's fine. They will actually approve you. And but if you have no revenue, they'll look at your projections. They'll look at your business plan to sort of have a clear idea about the prospects of your business, okay? And what we want to say also is that you are able to be pre-approved. So if you want to go through, if you want to have an LLC business loan, no revenue through a National Business Capital, there is a possibility whereby you can be pre-approved first. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about LLC, business loans, no revenue, large approvals. Another lender I want to share with you that does the LLC business loans, no revenue, large approvals is National Funding. So National Funding is really good also, especially if you are looking for a long-term financing. National Funding is a great player, and we love the fact that they actually lend to all kinds of LLCs in a constellation of industries. So, like some some LLC lenders, they have restrictions for some industries. National Funding is an exception. So they finance nearly everything. They finance anything legally possible, in this country. So this is really good. So regardless of the industry you're in, you could qualify for an LLC business loan, no revenue through National Funding. And here we are looking at but you can actually borrow anywhere from $5,000 all the way to $400,000. So this is a nice delta though. Think about it. $5,000 all the way to $400,000. This is really great, and we love the fact that again they will actually they cater to all kinds of business sizes. So small business, micro business, one-person business, single-member LLCs, multi-member LLCs, not a problem. So if you're looking for a single-member LLC business loan, no revenue, go to National Funding. If you're looking for a multi-member LLC business loan, no revenue, go to National Funding, among other lenders. This is really good, and you can use the cash for a lot of things too. So National Funding is not restricting the use of loan proceeds, not at all. Now, loan terms vary between 4 to 24 months. So you're not looking for a long repayment window. You are looking for like 4 months all the way to 2 years, because National Funding is trying to mitigate risks here. So especially if they're giving you an LLC business loan, no revenue, they want to make sure they are paid real quick. Okay, so in some cases, don't be surprised if they ask you to provide daily payments instead of monthly payments. They might ask you to provide weekly or bi-weekly or even daily payments. So we've seen all kinds of we've seen already all kinds of scenarios in this industry that you have a lender such as National Funding is trying to mitigate risks by asking for an early repayment window, or by asking for a tighter repayment window. So just be aware of that. If you get the loan, just be aware of that. Another lender that provides LLC business loans, no revenue, large amounts is Can Capital. So Can Capital is really great. And so if you have like a bad credit, you have low credit, no credit, Can Capital will take care of you. They actually start approving folks, business owners who have a FICO score of 350. That's the minimum here. And through Can Capital, you can access between $2,500 and $250,000. Okay, and this is a decent range in our view, particularly for startups. So the thing is that Can Capital, if you don't have revenue, or at least you have losses, whatever, just make sure that you do not have outstanding tax liens. In other words, you must be in good terms with the IRS or state tax authorities. They will ask you to provide proof that your LLC is in good standing with the state. They will ask you to provide articles of incorporation. They will ask you to provide operating agreements. So all kinds of documents, okay? And be ready also to provide financial projections. If you have no revenue, Can Capital might ask you to provide a set of financial projections, or you can also provide in some cases they might ask you to provide all kinds, like business plan, for example, your business plan, and this is kind of fine. Now, one thing I want to say here is that Can Capital really cares about making sure that as a borrower, you don't have outstanding tax liens, because they know that it's just a little more complicated when you have when you owe the state some tax areas. Okay, so it's important. Now you might need to actually provide other types of documentation depending on how Can Capital looks at your application. So just be aware of that. And also you might have to pay an origination fee to process your LLC business loan no revenue. So this is kind of important. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about LLC business loans no revenue large approvals. The next lender I want to share with you here is Reliant Funding. So when you think about Reliant Funding, I want you to think about a lender for your LLC business loan and no revenue that can actually advance you up to $400,000 with a 12-month maximum term. So Reliant Funding, they're not waiting for 5 years, they're not waiting for 3 years, because they know your LLC might not be around in 3 or 5 years. So they just want you to repay them right away within 12 months. And this could be a little disruptive to your liquidity, to your budget. But hey, listen, if you're able to manage, you are good to go. Okay. So what we love about Reliant Funding is that it's one of our best LLC business loan, no revenue for quick funding. So this is like, if you need cash for an emergency, Reliant Funding offers a same day funding if you qualify for an advance. And the 3-step application is quick and easy, and you'll get a final verdict within hours of applying. And with Reliant Funding, the longest you'll typically have to wait for funding is the next day. So this is whatever we know, it's really important. And Reliant Funding has a minimum credit score requirement of 525, and you also need to have been in business for at least 6 months and have annual revenue, either actual or projected, of $60,000. Okay, this is really important. But before I close to this conversation, just make sure, as I said, that the repayment window is really, really short. We're not speaking here about 5 years. We're speaking about 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, all the way to 12 months. That's what Reliant Funding is most comfortable when it comes to financing. And one thing I also want to say also is that Reliant Funding actually will work that you can have more than one loan available at the same time, as long as you are able to if you repay your existing loan up to 65%. You can take another loan from Reliant Funding, not a problem. And you can actually combine those 2 or 3 or 4 loans, business loans, no revenue, not a problem at all. Bottom line is, you need to actually plan things beforehand. And if you plan things beforehand, you'll get the loan that you need. The maximum loan here is $400,000. Another lender I want to share with you here is Main Street Finance Group. And when you think about Main Street Finance Group, I want you to think about a great platform if you are looking for an LLC business loan, no revenue, large amounts. Okay, and you can actually qualify for a lot of things. You can actually qualify for merchant cash advances, healthcare cash advances, equipment financing, lines of credit, and collateral loans. Okay, and the cool thing is that you are able to actually use the cash that you get for your LLC business loan, no revenue from business cash advance. You can use that cash for a lot of things. So we love that. Anytime a lender doesn't place restrictions on your use of loan proceeds, we just applaud that. And please make sure with this lender also you have your LLC documents in good shape. So if they ask you anything, you should be able to provide all kinds of documents with no problem. And you can provide those. You should be able to provide those documents at once. So this is really fine. Another lender I want to share with you is Stripe Capital. And Stripe actually is not a lender like a traditional lender, but Stripe does a lot of things in terms of giving you the cash real fast, and you can use the cash for a lot of things. The only thing is you need to be a Stripe customer. Like you need to process your payments through Stripe POS to qualify. And so this is fine. With Stripe, you need at least 6 months history of using Stripe to qualify though. And you can receive funding in as little as 24 hours after you're eligible. So if you run an LLC through Stripe, you can get an LLC business loan, no revenue through the platform, not a problem. Another lender I want to share with you is PayPal Working Capital. And PayPal is kind of similar to Stripe in the sense that you need to actually use PayPal to process payments, for PayPal to see your liquidity movements and be willing to give you to grant you an LLC business loan no revenue. And so what I want to say also is that when we talk about PayPal, we're talking here about a payment processor that's great for high volume sales, high volume transactions. And so you are able to see exactly what really matters. You're able to see exactly how to actually qualify for the PayPal business loan, like LLC business loan, no revenue. And one thing I want to say before closing here is that you need to understand that when we talk about PayPal, for instance, the maximum loan amount is $150,000, and for it really depends on the sector you're in, because you're not going to get the full amount, but it depends on the sector you're in. It depends on your history also with PayPal. So your history is so quintessential. Let me give you a few pro tips before we actually close to this conversation. So when we talk about an LLC business loan, no revenue, and large approval, you can actually get this type of business loan with the various approaches, right? You can try to get a merchant cash advance. You can try to get like a cash advance, regular cash advance. You can try to get an arrangement for equipment financing. You can try. So you have a lot of sectors whereby you are able to work with able to work for a company, or at least borrow from a company and not show any kind of revenue. It's totally possible, but you got to have something else. You got to have either a business plan, or you got to have financial projections. Because I'm assuming that when you say LLC business loan no revenue, you're having a conversation about the fact that they are hungry. And so, like, if we talk about if you want to actually get your LLC business loan no revenue real fast, show, for instance, like your business plan, because your business plan shows that you are hungry, you have a vision, and you also need to show projections in some cases. But if you happen to have some kind of revenue, you want to show it as well. And the thing is that you're not going to change things right away. It takes time. But you have to always ask yourself, how am I going to get this LLC business loan no revenue real fast? So you have to constantly try to check which lender will qualify you, right? As I said before, I've spoken to you about several lenders, from Fundbox all the way to National Business Funding, Can Capital, to PayPal Working Capital. So the question is, which one works for you? Which one is better for you? Which one could you qualify for? Those are questions you need to ask. All right, let's quickly recap here. So in today's conversation, I was just talking to you about LLC business loans no revenue. And so I talked to you about Fundbox. I talked to you about National Business Capital. I spoke to you about National Funding. I spoke to you about Ken Capital, Reliant Funding, Main Street Finance Group, Strive Capital, and PayPal Working Capital. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.